What is the Noble Silence? The power of mindful speech in Buddhism. Noble silence is not just the absence of words. It is a profound and transformative spiritual practice rooted in the teachings of the Buddha. In Buddhism, silence carries a deep significance, offering a gateway to self-awareness, mindfulness, and liberation. The practice of noble silence encourages us to step back from the noise of the world, both external and internal, and to observe with clarity and calmness. It teaches us to cultivate a quiet mind, a heart free of distractions, and an ability to truly listen, not just to others, but to our own thoughts and the reality around us. The Buddha himself exemplified the power of silence throughout his life. He used it as a tool to communicate wisdom, to resolve disputes, and to guide his disciples toward deeper understanding. When asked questions that were rooted in speculation or led away from the path of liberation, the Buddha often chose to remain silent. This deliberate choice wasn't avoidance. It was a profound teaching in itself. By staying silent, he pointed to the futility of clinging to answers that could not lead to freedom from suffering. Through noble silence, we learn to embrace mindfulness. We become more aware of how words shape our experiences, how silence can heal, and how inner stillness allows us to connect with the present moment. In this way, noble silence is not just a practice for meditation halls. It is a way of being that can transform every aspect of life. Chapter 1. The Foundations of Noble Silence. The Buddha's life offers many moments where silence spoke louder than words. One of the most well-known examples is his response to the unanswerable questions posed by seekers. These questions revolved around topics like the existence of the self after death or the nature of the universe. Instead of engaging in endless debates, the Buddha chose to remain silent. He explained to his disciples that such questions were like a man struck by a poisoned arrow, refusing treatment until he knew who shot the arrow, their intentions, and their background. His silence emphasized that what truly matters is removing the arrow of suffering and following the path to liberation. In another instance, the Buddha was once confronted by someone attempting to provoke him with harsh words. Instead of reacting, he calmly stated, "If someone offers a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" This response, rooted in mindfulness and clarity, not only diffused the situation, but also demonstrated how silence, paired with wisdom, can disarm hostility. Noble silence was also a method the Buddha used to guide his disciples in their own realizations. When they approached him with questions, he often encouraged them to look within rather than depend on external answers. This approach fostered self-reliance and inner clarity, helping them to understand that true wisdom arises from direct experience and contemplation. Silence for the Buddha was not merely about refraining from speech. It was a way to transcend the noise of unnecessary thoughts and words. He taught that unnecessary chatter distracts the mind and creates more attachment to the world. Noble silence, in contrast, clears the mind, allowing insight and peace to arise. Chapter 2. The Deeper Meaning of Noble Silence. To understand noble silence deeply, we must go beyond seeing it as a practice of holding one's tongue. Noble silence is an inner state, a place of calm where thoughts are observed without judgment, where emotions are felt without being carried away by them, and where clarity arises naturally. It is a practice of mindfulness, aligning with the Buddha's Eightfold Path, particularly the principles of right speech and right mindfulness. Right speech teaches us to use words that are truthful, kind, and beneficial. It also reminds us that sometimes the best choice is to say nothing at all. When we are silent mindfully, we create space to reflect on whether what we are about to say is necessary or helpful. Noble silence is not a restriction. It is a freedom from the compulsion to fill every moment with words. This silence also nurtures wisdom. The Buddha said, "A wise person is one who speaks when it is necessary, and even then speaks gently, kindly, and truthfully." By practicing noble silence, we develop the ability to discern when speech is needed and when silence holds more power. Through this discernment, we cultivate inner peace and compassion. Moreover, noble silence is a practice that directly addresses the restless nature of the mind. The Buddha often likened the mind to a monkey, jumping from one thought to another. Through silence, we learn to calm this restless mind, observing our thoughts without getting caught in them. Over time, this practice leads to a profound sense of inner stillness, where we can see things as they truly are. Compassion and wisdom grow naturally from this inner stillness. When we are no longer caught up in our own noise, we can listen more deeply to others. This kind of listening is a gift, one that creates understanding and connection. By being silent, we make space for empathy and kindness to arise, both for ourselves and for those around us. The Buddha's teachings remind us that the path to liberation begins within. Noble silence is not an escape from the world. It is a way of meeting the world with greater awareness and presence. It teaches us to face life's challenges without being overwhelmed by them, to respond rather than react, and to find peace even in the midst of noise and chaos. Through noble silence, we come to realize that silence is not empty. It is full of possibility, insight, and transformation. Chapter 3: Noble Silence and Mindful Speech. Noble silence and mindful speech are two sides of the same coin. While noble silence focuses on creating a space of stillness and clarity, mindful speech helps us engage with the world in ways that reflect kindness, truthfulness, and awareness. Together, they form a balanced approach to communication, rooted in the Buddha's teachings on right speech, one of the steps on the Noble Eightfold Path. The Buddha often emphasized the power of words, explaining that they have the potential to heal or harm, to build bridges or tear them down. He taught, words have the power to both destroy and heal. When words are both true and kind, they can change the world. This teaching highlights the responsibility we bear in choosing our words wisely. Noble silence supports this by giving us the pause needed to reflect before we speak, ensuring our words come from a place of mindfulness rather than impulse. Harmful speech, whether it's gossip, lies, harsh words, or idle chatter, creates suffering. It disrupts relationships, fuels misunderstandings, and disturbs our own inner peace. Gossip, for example, often arises from a desire to feel important or connected to others, but it comes at the cost of harming those who are spoken about. The Buddha warned against this, explaining that speech driven by craving or ill will only strengthens our attachments and distances us from the path of liberation. Mindful speech, on the other hand, is rooted in the principles of truth, kindness, and necessity. Before speaking, we can ask ourselves, is it true? Is it beneficial? Is it timely? If the answer to any of these is no, silence may be the wiser choice. Practicing this form of awareness transforms our interactions, making them more meaningful and constructive. The Buddha also encouraged his followers to speak in ways that promote harmony and understanding. He said, "Speak only the speech that neither torments yourself nor causes harm to others. That speech is truly well spoken. This teaching reminds us that mindful speech is not just about avoiding harm. It is about actively contributing to the well-being of others. Noble silence creates the foundation for mindful speech by teaching us to listen deeply. In silence, we become more attuned to the nuances of our thoughts and emotions, which allows us to communicate more effectively. When we practice listening with full attention, without judgment or the urge to respond, we create space for genuine connection. This kind of listening is rare but deeply healing, both for the listener and the speaker. In our daily lives, combining noble silence with mindful speech can bring profound changes. By speaking less and listening more, we reduce misunderstandings and foster greater understanding. When we do speak, our words carry more weight because they come from a place of clarity and intention. Over time, this practice transforms not only our communication, but also our relationships, making them more harmonious and compassionate. Chapter 4. Applying Noble Silence in Daily Life. Bringing noble silence into daily life may seem challenging in a world filled with constant noise and distractions, but it is entirely possible with practice and intention. The key is to start small, creating moments of silence amidst the busyness, and gradually expanding those moments into a way of being. One simple yet powerful way to practice noble silence is to begin and end each day in quiet reflection. Take a few minutes to sit silently, allowing yourself to observe your thoughts without judgment. This practice helps set the tone for mindfulness throughout the day and allows you to transition into rest with a sense of calm. In conversations, noble silence can be practiced by pausing before responding. This brief moment of silence allows you to consider whether your words are necessary and beneficial. It also helps you listen more deeply to what the other person is saying. As the Buddha advised, listen with ears of tolerance, see through the eyes of compassion, speak with the language of love. This guidance encourages us to approach every interaction with presence and kindness. Another way to integrate noble silence is by creating silent spaces in your daily routine. This could mean choosing to eat a meal in silence, turning off the radio during your commute, or taking a few moments of quiet before entering a meeting. These small acts of silence help you reconnect with the present moment and reduce the mental clutter that often accompanies a busy day. Even in professional environments, where silence may seem impractical, noble silence can be applied subtly. For example, you can practice listening attentively during meetings instead of formulating your response while others are speaking. You can also choose to refrain from engaging in gossip or unnecessary complaints, preserving your energy for meaningful contributions. The modern world often values constant activity and communication, but this can lead to overstimulation and burnout. Noble silence offers a remedy by teaching us to find balance. Instead of filling every moment with noise, whether it's words, music, or endless scrolling on our devices, we can learn to appreciate stillness. This stillness is not emptiness. It is a rich and restorative space where clarity and insight arise. One of the greatest benefits of practicing noble silence in daily life is its ability to deepen our relationships. When we are silent, we create space for others to share their thoughts and feelings without interruption. This kind of presence is a gift, showing others that they are seen and heard. Over time, it fosters trust and mutual respect. Finally, noble silence helps us connect more deeply with ourselves. In silence, we can observe the patterns of our minds, our fears, desires, and attachments, without being overwhelmed by them. This self-awareness is the first step toward transformation, allowing us to respond to life's challenges with wisdom and compassion. By integrating noble silence into daily life, we move closer to the Buddha's vision of a peaceful and mindful existence. It is not about retreating from the world, but about engaging with it more fully, with clarity, intention, and an open heart. Through silence, we discover that we don't need to add more to life to make it meaningful. We simply need to create space to see its meaning more clearly. Chapter 5. The Transformative Power of Noble Silence. Noble silence is not just a tool for meditation or self-discipline. It is a transformative practice that touches every aspect of our lives. By embracing silence, we step into a space where we can truly see ourselves and the world around us with clarity and wisdom. This chapter explores the profound changes that arise when we commit to noble silence as a way of being. Silence as a remedy for distraction. Modern life is full of distractions, notifications, endless chatter, and a constant stream of information. These distractions pull us away from the present moment, scattering our attention and clouding our ability to think clearly. The Buddha described this restless state as vibhanta citta, or the wandering mind. He taught that it is only through stillness that we can tame this mental agitation. Noble silence creates the conditions for focus and awareness. When we step away from the noise, even for a short time, we allow our minds to settle. This stillness is like muddy water in a jar. When left undisturbed, the sediment sinks to the bottom, leaving the water clear. Similarly, when we practice silence, the clutter in our minds begins to dissolve, revealing a deeper clarity. The Buddha often encouraged his disciples to retreat into silence as a way to reconnect with the essence of their practice. He said, "Meditate. Do not delay, lest you later regret it." Silence gives us the space to meditate deeply, to observe the true nature of our thoughts and emotions without being swept away by them. Over time, this leads to a profound sense of inner calm and stability, overcoming internal and external conflicts. Noble silence is also a powerful tool for resolving conflicts, both within ourselves and in our relationships. Internally, we often wrestle with conflicting desires, emotions, and thoughts. This inner turmoil can make it difficult to make decisions or to find peace. By sitting in silence, we create a space to observe these conflicts without judgment. In this space, solutions often arise naturally, without the need for overthinking or force. Externally, silence can be a bridge to understanding. In moments of conflict with others, our instinct is often to defend ourselves or to argue our point of view. But this can escalate tensions and close the door to resolution. Noble silence teaches us to pause, to listen, and to respond with mindfulness rather than reactivity. As the Buddha said, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." Silence in conflict does not mean avoidance or suppression. Instead, it is an active practice of creating space for clarity and compassion. By choosing silence, we break the cycle of anger or defensiveness, allowing room for understanding and reconciliation to emerge. This approach fosters harmony not only in personal relationships, but also in communities and societies. Deepening meditation and self-awareness. One of the most transformative aspects of noble silence is its impact on meditation and self-awareness. In meditation, silence is not merely the absence of external noise. It is the quieting of the mind. The Buddha often described this state as samatha, or tranquility. Through noble silence, we train ourselves to cultivate this tranquility, creating the conditions for insight, vipassana, to arise. In the silence of meditation, we begin to see the impermanent and interconnected nature of all things. Thoughts and emotions arise and pass away like waves on the surface of a still lake. This awareness helps us let go of attachments and aversions, the root causes of suffering. Over time, we develop a deeper understanding of the Four Noble Truths and the nature of the self. Beyond formal meditation, noble silence enhances our ability to be present in everyday life. It teaches us to approach each moment with full attention, whether we are eating, walking, or engaging in conversation. This presence transforms ordinary activities into opportunities for mindfulness and gratitude. Silence as a response to modern challenges. In today's world, we face unique challenges such as misinformation, overstimulation, and a loss of genuine connection. Noble silence offers a way to navigate these challenges with wisdom and compassion. By practicing silence, we learn to discern which voices and influences deserve our attention. We develop the strength to step away from the noise of social media, gossip, and unnecessary distractions, creating space for what truly matters. The Buddha's teachings on right speech remind us that silence is often the most truthful and kind response to situations filled with negativity or confusion. By choosing not to contribute to the noise, we become a source of calm and clarity for others. In this way, noble silence not only transforms our own lives, but also has a ripple effect, inspiring others to embrace mindfulness and simplicity. Conclusion: the practical and spiritual benefits of noble silence. In a world filled with constant noise, both external and internal, noble silence offers a sanctuary. It is more than the absence of words. It is a profound practice that nurtures mindfulness, insight, and compassion. The Buddha himself demonstrated the power of silence, showing us that wisdom often lies not in what is said, but in what is left unsaid. Noble silence is a path of balance. It teaches us when to remain silent and when to speak. In silence, we find clarity and peace. In speech, we can share that clarity and peace with others. This practice transforms not only how we communicate, but also how we live. It helps us navigate life's challenges with greater awareness and equips us to cultivate deeper, more meaningful relationships. The benefits of noble silence extend far beyond the individual. As more people embrace this practice, it creates a ripple effect, fostering a culture of mindful communication and mutual understanding. In the Buddha's words, "When one man practices mindfulness, it benefits many. When many practice mindfulness, it transforms the world." Whether in daily life, conversations, or moments of solitude, noble silence is a tool for liberation. It allows us to see the nature of reality, to experience the peace that comes from stillness, and to share that peace through intentional, mindful speech. In silence, we discover ourselves. In speech, we offer ourselves to others. This practice is not reserved for monks or those on retreat. It is accessible to anyone, at any moment. As the Buddha taught, begin wherever you are. The path unfolds with each mindful step. Noble silence reminds us that wisdom does not need to shout. It speaks most clearly in the quiet spaces we create. Through silence and speech, we walk the path toward understanding, compassion, and ultimate freedom.